Yo, what's up? Apologize you can't see me. So I just wanted to talk about my past, like what I did in my past. I was a fields engineer. My first job. I did a little training at a restaurant, but I want to make this video about my career or my extended time working as a field engineer. Basically I was just going around, cities. I went to the Pentagon, I went to, Baltimore, I went to a couple different places. Cities, town, like a lot of towns around my area in Northern Virginia. And I was just, I was always, it was like a 9 to 5. But I would just go around and, it was like, I was a field engineer, and then on top of that, I was like underground utilities, I would go around and I would check for underground utilities, and I would just I would use this machine, and I would swipe away, at all the wires and stuff. My boss would tell me, where to go, where to find the different circuits and all that stuff. And we'd go around and we'd mark the different electrical currents that were underground with these special machines. We'd find them, and then we'd use graffiti and we'd mark where they were. Like you may see on the streets, like two lines on either side with like a circle in the middle. I don't remember exactly, but, there was, like, red meant something, yellow meant something, you know what I'm saying? There was different colors for different, like, how deep they went. It was something like that. It was a little bit obscure, but, it was a good job. It was in the construction field. I'd go out, 5 days a week, different cities, different towns and stuff, and just mark all these underground electrical currents, or we'd find the wires. Basically, somehow the machine would be able to sense, through the electrical current through the rubber and everything, the rubber guarding that was protecting the rubber guarding that was surrounding the the electrical wires. So I'd just go around. We drive. We did a bunch of different jobs. It was cool. Like field engineer. I worked for this company called Utility Search Incorporated. That was also a transitioning period for me because I just come back from hitchhiking the West Coast, and I knew I needed some money. I knew I needed a job because I knew that I didn't want to go back to school, and I got linked up with a wrestling coach. I got linked up with my wrestling coach, and I got reacquainted with him. I went to my old high school and I saw him, and he gave me this guy's number. I called the guy. He ended up being my boss, but it was a little bit weird. I was a little bit skeptical. I was going to a church. I was meeting him at a church. I got all dressed up. I tried to look sharp. I didn't really get hired or anything like that. The whole thing was like, I got hired and stuff. I think I had to fill out an application, maybe not, but I know when I left the job, I had to resign, and I had to say that I was actually resigning. A lot of my other jobs, they didn't end that way, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't have jobs end that way regardless, you know what I'm saying? They just, get fired or don't show up to work and say they can't come back and stuff, and that's where it gets a little trickier, and that's where it gets a little tricky, and that's when you have to do your research on, are you hired and stuff like that, when filling out a resume, when trying to get a job, when seeking, employment. You got to be very, you got to be very careful with your words, because a lot of people, I've noticed, especially recently, the last time I tried to cop an interview at a place, this guy, I could just tell that he was using, whether it was his supervisor, manager, or bosses, or CEOs, I could just see that he was using. I could see that what he was saying wasn't, from his own thinking or his own mind or his own heart. He was using somebody else's will. I'll just give you a quick example of what that could be like. You could ask me a question like, where do I need to park my car when I show up to work on Monday? You know what I'm saying? And I could just say whatever I think my superiority would say. You know what I'm saying? I could just say whatever I think my superiority would say, not just check in with him. You know what I'm saying? So this is a lot of the reason why people are mentally sick but don't realize it, or a lot of people are mentally ill or being diagnosed with mental illness, or diagnoses, are just off the charts, and other people who are in fact mentally ill because they don't know what they're dealing with, are undiagnosed and stuff like that. So it leaves a lot of people out in the wind to blow, or the wind to dry. And that's why you got suicides and all of this stuff. And I don't want you guys or women to think that it's just life, college, and then death. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you guys to think that it's just life, college, and death. There's a lot more, or it's just go to school, or it's just work, go to college, and then death. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know that there's a lot more to life than just that, and that everybody has a consequence for their actions. Those people committing suicide, those people doing drugs and alcohol, those people doing drug deals, those people going to war for their country, committing murder and everything. Like everybody is judged on their actions, and there's consequences for everything. And people like daydreaming is a real thing, because you are afflicted by the traumas, and then when you go to sleep at night, that's when you actually you could say request, not like request any information or anything like that, but you sort of go on the same quest that you were already on, or go through the same spell that you were already under, and you get through it, and you see the flip side, basically. That's what the spirit world deals with. It deals with the flip side of life. And just remember, you don't know who you're dealing with out there, and until you take out the middleman, for instance, money, I would say you can never really have like a truthful and honest message. And until you actually, and I'm not saying there's anybody out there who sold me anything that I shouldn't have bought or anything, but let me get back to the field engineer job, and then I'm gonna end this video. So we go around and we'd mark the underground electrical utilities for the drillers to come in, and then the drillers will come in and all of that stuff, and this is how they create new buildings and stuff, and give the new buildings electricity and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's something cool, you know what I'm saying? I was a field engineer, I was an engineer all along, really. And then I got into dirty business, and did things that mama would not be proud of. So yeah, I'm about to jet, so I'll catch y'all in a little bit.